Good morning. I'm going to do a pre-record today because the live thing hasn't been working, which is fine. Um, we're going to do our heart chakra opening meditation. And we're going to do a little reading. Chakra 4, love, opening meditation. From love we are made. Let me just sit back. My back has been hurting lately. From love we are made. On passion's waves our spirits sparked, and down we came into our mother's matter. The pull of love calling us deep into the earth, as deep into the mother father pushed. Deep into the womb we crawled, the warm, dark womb of earth and water, the womb of love. Safe, dark, cradled, quiet, we grew. In the dark there was but one sound, the sound of life, the sound of love, the sound of the heart, beating, 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 beating. Hear it now in your own heart. Its rhythms pumping life and air and breath through every part of you, renewing you, bathing you in air, in space, in breath, in life. Feel it now at the core of you. Embrace it with your hands. Feel it yearning, crying, loving, hoping, healing. Feel it within you, old as you are, beating since the days from deep in the womb. Feel how long it's been there. Always beating, never stopping. Always beating, never stopping. Always beating, never stopping. Always beating, never stopping. Do you love that heart? Breathe in deeply. Drawing in the air, a softness, depth, and wisdom. As you breathe, spirit comes within your heart and touches you, moving you, changing you. Deeply you accept as thirstily you drink. Be thankful for this vessel that receives. Faster now on waves of flame we fling with joy up to the sky, above the earth, above the water, beyond the fire, and into the air. We reach and spread our wings and fly, free to ride the winds, but soon get tossed about and cry. Where is the heart? Where is the heart? Where is my home? We listen for the beat and fly deep into its sound. We reach for ground, slowing down. We still ourselves to listen deeper. Quiet is the sound. Gently we reach, for the heart is tender. Softly we touch, for the heart is afraid. We open our hands to the love inside, to unite, to touch, to heal. Offer that love now. Ask for entry into your own heart. Listen deep and hear inside a silent sound. Anahata, anahata, anahata. Anahata. Listen deep and breathe into the sound, the breath, the wisdom of healing. In and out. In and out. In and out. Inhaling that which is new, exhaling the old, each breath renewing, each breath a wind within you and around you. Gentle zephyr, storm of life, winds of change. For what does your heart cry? For what does it long? And what does it find peace? Release its hopes and dreams to fly upon the wings of change, and then return on wings of love, fulfilled beyond your dreams. You are not alone. Your cries are echoed in 1,000 hearts the same. If you listen, you can hear them beating, 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 beating. Deep within each person, find the heart. Everywhere around you, find the heart. Deep within ourselves, we find the heart. Every time we touch the heart. Within each one is love, awaiting sweet unfoldment. Release that love upon the winds of breath and reach beyond. Touch the heart inside the ones you love. And listen to their breath that whistles in and out, in and out, in and out. Like you, they laugh and cry and play, ceaseless rhythm through each day. Feel the heart so like your own, hoping, healing, breathing, feeling. Let there be no sound of striking, only that of love and liking. Each unto the dance of love that joins the earth to worlds above, and joins ourselves unto each other, each one seen as sister, brother. Within our hearts the seeds of peace lie, await sweet release. Upon the winds of change they fly, as deep within our hearts we cry. Anahata, 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 the sound of love. Okay, we're going to read about relationship and balance. The ideal situation for really understanding another is not so much how a person reacts to extreme stress, but rather how he or she suffers the vulnerability of falling in love. Aldo Corantuto. At the level of the fourth chakra, we step out of the minute cycles of the lower chakras and gain an overview of how they function together. Isvara, the deity within the lotus, is the god of unity, representing the interdependence of the three fundamental tendencies, tamas, rajas, and sattvas. He represents the balance of these three qualities, sometimes thought of as illusion, for the state of balance is always in flux. To move from separation into unity first requires entering into relationship. Let's review the building of our structure this far. Seeing the relationship among the lower chakras. Chakra 1, the root chakra, is about material objects that are separate, distinct, and solid. These objects range in size from subatomic particles, inasmuch as they can even be called objects, to planets and stars. At Chakra 2, we looked at how objects moved, the forces that act on them. At Chakra 3, we looked at the reorganization that occurs from this movement as objects collide, change structure, combust, and release energy. We then saw how everything has these cycles within it, combining to form larger structures. These cycles can only continue when they are in a certain kind of relationship. Poles do not attract when they are too far apart to be relevant. Not all fuel catches fire. There is a larger force that keeps these subroutines functioning. The force of Chakra 4, a force we call love. The force perpetuates the eternal dance of relationship so that the smaller components can continue their subroutines and keep us functioning. Love for the body motivates us to take care of our physical needs. In a family, love keeps its members together so they can conduct the business of life and raise their children. For a group, love of a common cause keeps its members relating so they can accomplish their tasks. Love of learning makes us buy books or go to school. It's love that keeps us in relationship. The mysterious force is full of paradox. It has gravitation as well as radiation. We fall in love, yet are lifted by the experience. Love binds together without limiting. It requires both closeness and distance. It is the essence of balance and equilibrium, dwelling at the core of each of us. As our smaller patterns and cycles repeat, they are perceived and regulated by the mind, which, acting through the will, ensures their continuity. We see these aspects in terms of their relationships. We see the space between rather than the things themselves. We view the world as an interlocking puzzle. As between each of the chakras, the primary difference between the third and the fourth is one of awareness. Through the creation and repetition of pattern, the organism becomes self-aware. Our lower chakra activity has influenced and created consciousness. We have acted according to our instincts and emotions, learning from our mistakes. Our learning becomes even more complex and is stored in the higher centers as concepts, memory, and logic, to descend downward again, where our consciousness can influence our action. Relationship is the interface between matter and information, and plays a part in all levels that lie between. In fact, all information could be regarded as awareness of relationship. These patterns give us the concepts which form the basic structure of our thoughts, communication, and perception. They are the foundation of who we are. The fourth chakra level of consciousness perceives the world as an intricate web of relationships, bound together by the force of love. Once we perceive objects and their activities as relationships, we begin to perceive the perfection balance, and eternal nature of these relationships. In viewing the planets, for example, we see an endless cycle of relationships, perfectly coordinated and balanced. The planets in orbit moving in balance with the pull of the sun, repeating their patterns eternally. We see each of the stars in its place in the heaven through moving and pulsating. Each blade of grass covers its own spot of turf, though it dies each year and is reborn. As we perceive patterns in this way, we see that all lasting patterns are a product of dynamic equilibrium among its parts. We then find each element of life woven into a greater pattern, each in its own place. We can then seek a point of balance between ourselves and our surroundings. This point becomes an integral part of the whole, giving it the coherence of a mandala emanating from a central point. When we understand the perfection of the relationships around us, it beckons the heart to open. In our interpersonal relationships, the same rule of balance applies. Relationships endure when all over balance is maintained. They end when one or both partners feel the relationship has gotten out of balance and does not have the capacity to return. This can be due to an imbalance of taking and giving, an imbalance in basic life force and spiritual evolution, money, sex, power, household, childcare, communication, or any of the other elements that play out in the arena of relationship. It must be remembered that this balance is dynamic rather than static. It fluctuates over time. It is the overall totality that must contain a basic parity if the relationship is to survive. Balance within ourselves gives us the best shot at maintaining balance in our relationship with others. Inner balance allows us to perceive and enter the equilibrium within the ordered pattern of the mandala, which then becomes a point of openness and stability. Neither the mind, nor the body, nor any single chakra can do it alone. It must be done with the fullness of the heart as the center of the being. When the will has consciously tempered and fulfilled our needs, our mind can better enter into understanding of relationships, and we find our proper place. From this place, all of our relationships, as well as their beginnings and endings, are in harmony with a greater pattern. Relationships with the greatest equilibrium, and therefore the most grace, will necessarily be the most enduring. The ones that are more transitory or stepping stones in the swirling creation of the larger pattern. This realization of perfection opens the heart to receive. Each chakra receives its charge of energy by being in enlightenment with the Sushumna at the central column of energy. If we are not in balance with ourselves, our chakras fall out of alignment, much as the vertebrae in the spine can fall out of alignment. Unfortunately, there are no Shaktipractors to put them back in place. This is something we must do ourselves. The heart chakra, at the exact center of the personal mandala, suffers the greatest loss and causes the greatest damage if it should fall too far out of its place. Imbalances within the heart, the central core, can throw the entire system off balance. Let's see. The heart chakra at the exact center of the personal mandala suffers the greatest loss and causes the greatest damage if it should fall too far out of its place. Imbalances within the heart, the central core, can throw the entire system off balance. Not only is balance between the upper and lower chakras and between the mind and body necessary, but also between the inner and outer, between self and transcendence. In order to love, there must be a certain transcendence of ego and loss of separateness that allows us to experience a greater unity. We give up some of our individuality for this union. As this union is facilitated by moving along the liberating current, we experience the freeing, exhilarating effect of love, the union, the transcendence, a sacred and somewhat altered state of consciousness. Falling out of love is a return to a smaller place, a mundane self, alone and separated, fallen from the grace and idyllic high of this love state. We therefore become attached to maintaining the state of love. The risk of exhilarating lift of love is that we can easily lose our ground. In order to maintain love, we need a ground from which to nourish it and provide its roots. We must retain a part of the individual self, a part of the substance from which passion and will emerge. We transcend our separateness too much. We are no longer fully present. We have separated the flame from the fuel, and we come crashing down to earth, and it burns out. We have tipped our balance, and we can no longer offer substance to the relationship at hand. When we lose ourselves, we lose our center, we lose our own heart, and displace our relationship to our loved ones. In the words of D.H. Lawrence, if one yields oneself up to another entirely, there is a guttering mess. You have to balance love and individuality and actually sacrifice a portion of each. Living in balance is a state of grace, of delicacy, of gentleness. Love is that which endures, and likewise, what is done with love will endure. That which is out of balance will not endure. Only by being balanced within ourselves can we hope to balance the world. To maintain our balance, we must be aware of all our parts. This is not something that occurs in an intellectual fashion, like taking an inventory in a storeroom. Instead, it comes from a dynamic experience of our center, the heart itself, which organically organizes and balances if given the freedom to do so. Lastly, the heart chakra needs to be balanced between input and output. Just as the breath equalizes its inhalations and exhalations, so too must our energy replenish itself in order to keep giving. When handled properly, there is an infinite supply of energy through any chakra. Love multiplies as it is given, yet many people lose their alignment by giving too much, losing their ground, or giving when their energy is depleted. We are taught that selfishness is bad, that it is wrong to balance our accounts from time to time. Yet altering our own balance can alter the symmetry of the mandala around us. Constant overdrawing of the account can deplete the resources until we can't give it all. Then we have a backlash that is not very loving at all. In balance between all things, we need to get out of the polarities of good and evil. We need to be puritanically good to stroke our delicate egos. We need not be puritanically good to stroke our delicate egos, nor need we be selfishly evil. True love flows from one center to another. allowing each the freedom to dance their own part in their own unique way. As Anahata is a yin chakra, one of the challenges is to allow letting to replace doing or making. Only then can we truly perceive the pattern for what it is. Love is not something that is attached to an object. Love is a state of being in harmony with oneself. Ken, I'm not going to be able to pronounce this last name, Ken Ditchwald, after an extended fast where he meditated on the subject of love, came to describe it this way. Love seems to be the appreciation that we are all little lumps in the same earthly soup, which is a little lump in a larger cosmic soup. So, love is an awareness of this beautiful energetic relationship and natural appreciation of this situation. It doesn't seem to matter of finding love. It's a matter of being aware of it. It's not a question of invention, but rather of discovery. Love is the natural relationship between healthy living things. We need only to believe that it is around us at all times and in all things to find it within ourselves. All right, and today's my son's birthday. He passed away 4 years ago. So happy birthday, Bodhi. You're missed and loved. Loved immensely.